I'm very excited. There are just 3 days left in this most consequential election. Are you ready?
I'm asking you to dream big, because your vote, think of this, we are just 3 days away. Do you believe it?
And now we're just 2 days away. Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump making their closing arguments to voters in these final hours before Election Day. And we're back now with the panel. Well, it's not just the White House that's at stake on election night, also control of the Senate. And the fact is that the Democrats need a net pickup of 5 seats or 4 seats, plus Vice President Tim Kaine to break any ties, to take control. We have our resident Senate watcher, Karl Rove. What's it look like for you, and what are the key states you're going to be looking at?
Well, look, I think it's going to come down. The Republicans, I think, are going to bank 5 seats that they need, and it's going to come down to winning 2 out of the remaining seats. The 3 best shots are going to be.
You mean the Democrats are going to bank?
No, the Republicans are going to bank 5 seats.
Okay.
Arizona, Ohio, Florida, Missouri, and Indiana, and that'll get them to 49. And the question is, how do they get to 51? And the 3 best shots they've got, and they got to take 2 out of 3, are first North Carolina, Richard Burr versus Deborah Ross. Burr leads by 1.5 in Real Clear Politics. Interesting to watch early vote. Democrats, as of Friday evening, 12,000 fewer Democrat early votes than in 2012. Republicans, 151,000 more. This is in a state Romney won by 94,000.
All right, real quickly, Burr is the incumbent. That's a Republican seat, so the key is, can he hold on?
Can he hold on to all 3 of these are holding on? Excuse me, two of them are holding on. The second one is New Hampshire, Kelly Ayotte versus Maggie Hassan. Ayotte, the incumbent Republican, Hassan, the Democratic governor. Ayotte is up 2.4 points. She's led in 7 of the last 10 polls in October. This will be the most expensive per capita Senate race in the history of America. $120 million will be spent.
And again, that's a Republican seat that they're trying to hold on to.
They've got to hold.
And then there's one seat that's a Democrat seat. Harry Reid, the majority leader, is retiring, and Nevada's that.
Yeah, Republican Congressman Joe Heck versus former Attorney General Mastow. Heck leads by 1.4 in the Real Clear Politics average. He's led in 7 of the 13 polls since October 1. The GOP has cut the Democratic lead in early voting by only 2,000, but this could be just like 2012. Barack Obama took the state in the presidential race, and Republican Senator Dean Heller was elected.
So you think Republicans definitely get to 49. The question is, can they get to 51?
Right.
Or 50 with President or Vice President Mike Pence.
Always good to have an insurance policy, though. And look, there are a couple of other races out there, but these are their best shots.
One, who takes the Senate, and do Republicans hold on to the House?
I think it's close to a coin flip, but I would just point out that, you know, there are other prognosticators, New York Times, Charlie Cook, I have a lot of respect for, and they at the moment give the Democrats a slight advantage. When you look at states like Illinois with Kirk, Wisconsin with Johnson, Pennsylvania with Toomey, I thought Toomey was going to come back, but it doesn't look that way in the polls at the moment. So I would look, as Karl was talking about, Missouri, I think is very close, North Carolina. I think Nevada is still in play, and Indiana, at the moment, it looks like Todd Young has taken the lead, but I would never, ever turn away.
And that's a Republican state that the Democrats are trying to take with
Evan Bayh is trying to come back. So what you get is a very tight race right now.
All right, let's turn, because we ask you for questions for the panel, and we got a bunch on the issue of what's the country going to look like, and will they unite around our next president? And most of the answers, frankly, or most of the questions, were pretty pessimistic. They kind of came in, it was like Jeopardy. They came in the form of answers. Rose Mead sent this on Facebook. No matter who is elected, we are a fractured nation. Half of our nation has values and a worldview that is diametrically opposed to the other. There's no uniting the two. Dana, do you share that pessimism?
I think that today I understand why people feel that way, but I also have seen the power of the ability of the American people over and over again to have a peaceful transition of power. There's going to be a lot riding on whoever the president is just to decide to do that, and I wish I was on their communications team because I have some thoughts of how they might do that. I also feel that people, if you look at that New York Times poll, 80% of the electorate is disgusted with this election. I think that come Thanksgiving, when people gather with their families, they'll remember that America is not just defined by its president, but by her citizens, and that they'll have a lot to be thankful for, and whoever the next president is will get support.
Bob, you and I, as the two old codgers or statesmen.
Right, we can't use that word.
Codgers is a codger union, that's
okay.
wrong.
I was thinking of another one.
Okay. We have lived through a lot of divided times. Vietnam, Watergate, the 2000 election, when a lot of people thought Bush's election was illegitimate. What are your thoughts about the prospects for this country uniting behind Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump?
I think it's a matter of tone. Whoever becomes president, if assuming Hillary Clinton's going to win, she can't come in with the old retreads, all appointments, all the people who've been there, and Clinton administrations. There's been a lot of criticism, and you see it in these emails about the team around her. Is there going to be? Could she say a new leaf? The same with Trump. If he for some reason becomes president, is he then?
It wouldn't be some reason, it'd be because he got the majority of votes.
Yeah, but it's, I mean, Karl makes a convincing case, but, I think there's that unknown factor in there, and then he would have to do something big and dramatic, and hopefully inside he would have the feeling, I broke the bank. Now I'm president. Let's do everything right instead of this sexism and racism, which has been out of his own mouth for a long time.
Karl, nobody came in under a bigger cloud as the new president than George W. Bush with that election and the recount and a month in the Supreme Court. How did you guys try to unite the country when he finally was the winner?
First person he called in the United States Senate was Ted Kennedy. First member of the House he called Democrat George Miller of California and talked to them about the issues that they could together work on. But it wasn't easy, and it requires presidential leadership from the start. Dick Gephardt, who was a good man, went on Tim Russert's Meet the Press, and twice after the Supreme Court came down on the 18th of September, twice was asked, is Bush the legitimate president of the United States? And he refused to answer the question. And yet, by June, by setting the right tone and by reaching out to the other side, Bush had passed his tax cuts in the Senate with a quarter of the Democrats in the Senate voting for it. By spending the time and the energy and the effort to specifically unite the country. If Donald Trump wins, he's going to need a Norma Mineta, a Democrat who will serve in his cabinet. If she wins, she's going to need a Bob Gates, somebody who's a Republican or Republican identifier to serve in her cabinet.
Just say quickly, I think in the healing process, there's no getting away, even on this Sunday morning, from saying something needs to be done about what happened with the Russians. And the trouble with the FBI is not going to be resolved without some serious effort by whoever's coming in.
Well, we're going to have plenty of time to discuss that next week. Thank you, panel. See you next Sunday back in Washington.